Right. Before we start the class, does anyone have questions about the assignment for last week? No, so far. Okay. If you have any question, just email me, or we can set up a meeting. Right. Try to get it done before, like, before tomorrow evening, so we can set up meetings in the morning or in the afternoon. Okay. All these links. This week, we're going to talk about the data visualization. It's really getting to the real game. We're going to use the data and then draw some charts. So here are some of the common libraries that we use for data visualization. And the first one is the most commonly used one. Now, even these libraries, I don't use that often, and they are all built on the Matplotlib library. So we are going to focus on this one, and we'll mention Seaborn probably. So we'll just get directly into how to creating those charts, and then after we get familiar with these charts, and then we'll have an overview of like how to choose the plots and how to interpret the plots that the result. Okay. The first thing we are going to go through is creating a bar chart. This is the most common one. So here, for example, I have a data set, the sales records with the people's names, and then with the weekly days. Okay, and that's the total of the sales. So we are going to create a very simple bar plot. Is there any way to like hide this one? This? It's okay. So I already imported this database here. Okay, it's just quickly And then the library we are going to use is called Matplotlib. And actually, we are not going to use the whole package. We only use this class called PYP plot. And we use the PLT as the short for PYP plot. So this is the name convention when you import this library. And sometimes we use NumPy as well, so I just use there. Okay. Oh, so this is the database. This is the data set we are going to use. So to plot the bar plot, it's very simple. You just need to tell it the X and the Y. So for example, here, if we look at this, if we look at this bar plot here, yeah. So if we look at this bar plot, what is the X? The numbers for the X, and what is the numbers for the Y? So I'm using the total, okay? The total for the bar plot. So what is the Y? The numbers of the Y is this group of numbers. And the X, you see, they are no numbers actually. The X are just the names of the people here, the sales representatives. So if I use the code, what I need to get this first column as the x-axis, right? And then the last column as the y-axis. Now these are the y numbers are the total sales numbers, right? Are we all good here? Yeah. So what I really need to get is only just this x-axis and the column 1 for this x-axis, and then we get the last column for the y-axis. And we have practiced enough in the last lesson. We use the index location function. Okay? So we can get this x first, okay? The x is df. Tell me what I need to get for the x-axis. What is the code? So I need to all the rows here. These 4 rows. So this is actually just the column names. This is not counted as the rows or columns. This top one, this is column names. So this is not counted. This first row is here. So I want all these rows, right? Anna from Anna to Laura. So all these rows, okay. And then after the comma is the column numbers, which column I want for X. What should I input here for the column?
1.
Close.
2.
0. Forgot. 0 for it. Everything starts with 0. See? So it's 0. It's the first column, right? And then Y is the last column, we said. And so similarly, Y, what should I input here? Yeah. Why should I input here? That's part.
Would you put 0?
Would
you put 0 colon or no?
The 0 column is for the X. I'm getting this Y, the last column for Y. So
do -1.
Can
you -1 with the last column?
Yes, I believe you can, yeah. Let's see, okay. And I believe it should work, and it's really easy, so I just need to give the X number to this function, bar plot function, okay, and then give the Y. So we named it Y. And at the end, this ELT show. If you don't add this, it may not show up. Sorry, I forgot to enlarge it. So let's run to see if it works. All right. So here, yeah, as simple as this, we created a basic bar plot. Okay. Next thing we need to do, it's very easy, but it's still very important that we are going to add the essential information for this plot, or else people looking at this don't know what you're talking about in the bar plot. So what we usually add is these elements, okay? You need to give it a title, and then you need to give it the X label and the Y label. Tell them what this X about and this Y numbers about. Sometimes we add this legend as well if there are multiple categories. So these are the essential information we use, and it's very easy to add these. So just it's called X label. X label is the cell representative. And the Y label is the total sales. And then you have to get the title for this topic. Okay, these three are the basic elements, all basic elements. Just yeah, sales records. Okay, so yeah, this is an entire plot that we want. Right. Let's move on. Sometimes we add the legend and the Y ticks. Y ticks means that the numbers on this y-axis. For example, here this looks perfect sometimes, but it doesn't show as what you want. So y ticks set up these numbers, the range of these numbers, and then the intervals between these numbers. For example, I want to change this to change this to maybe every five, like not 2.5 here. So what I can do is to just give it the numbers. So we need the numbers from 0 to 20, and then 5 as the intervals of what we learned. We learned earlier that we can use the NumPy to create a series 0, 5, 10, 15, right? 20. So here I just call this function from start number could be from 0, and then the end number could be 20, and then every 5 numbers. And with this, you added a customized Y tick here. Okay, so this is the Y ticks. Next thing we are going to do is to transform it into a horizontal bar plot. So horizontal bar plot, it's often used when you have a lot of the representative, so this plot will be long. So that's when you use a horizontal bar chart instead of a vertical one. So for example, there are over like 10 people here, then you can use a horizontal bar plot to make it long, and it's still pretty. Let's see how it works. Horizontal. So this is a little bit different. See this here, you give it the Y and then give it a Y. So Y is here. The Y is like the Y we just used, the sales record, the sales numbers, and the Y here are the names. So actually we don't need to choose. We don't need to change anything. Let me copy this, okay? UIDP plot. Right. Oh, so here, if we change it to a horizontal bar plot, the Y will be the names, and then the X, actually the Y's of the bars will be the sales numbers, sales records. So actually we don't need to change anything. We can still copy these numbers, X, Y. So X is the names, and then the Y is actually the Y's. Yeah, this changed into a horizontal bar plot. So that might be confusing. Here it's X. Okay, it's called Y in the argument for the function. You can do this. Okay, we can copy this down. But maybe, but this is called Y in the argument, so it might be confusing here. So this is a horizontal bar plot. Next, and then again, whatever plots you create, don't forget to add these essential elements. Oh, okay. This next one is a little bit harder. There's some tricks I need to explain very clearly. So we are putting all this data together into one plot and then make it into a grouped bar plot. When you have a grouped bar plot, you can compare. You can see the change on the weekdays, like Monday, Tuesday. So you can compare the blue ones to the orange ones. Obviously, the blue ones are a little bit higher. And you can compare the records between the people. So it gives you like 2 dimensions to look into the data. You can see between the days, and then you can compare between the people. Okay? So what we are going to do here is still use this function, but we are going to use more arguments here. the first one we just created, we used the X, and then we give it the Y, the height of the bars. That's only two elements, arguments we use. And if we want to create a group bar plot, we have to use the Y's and the bottom also. So what it does is, actually, what it does is you add not just one bar. So this line of code. This line of code only create one bar, the blue one. Okay. We want to have these grouped one other groups. Then we need to add more bars. The second one, and then the third one, fourth one. But if we use the exact code, then the bars will be stacked on each other. The orange will be on the blue one. Let's just run the code and to see what will happen, and then we talk about the solution, how it works. Okay. So let me copy this code down. Copy this code down. Sure, we can just cut these. I copy this down. Okay. So this was the X and this was the Y. Now we use a Monday. Okay. We use a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and let's plot the Monday first. So I do is arrow 1. Oh, okay. So this is the Monday, the record for the Monday. Okay. Next, I want to add the Tuesday. So let's add Tuesday. Okay. Easy. 2, and add this one. Oh, add this one. Add another group of bars. And this time the X doesn't change, and the Y we change it into Tuesday, right? Okay, let's see what happens here. So as you see, because I use the same X, so this orange one is put on top of the blue one. Kind of. It looks like a stacked bar plot, but actually it's not. But we want to group the bar plot. What we want to change is to move the orange a little bit aside. So it will be like it will be beside the green, the blue ones. It will not cover that. Okay, is that correct? Yeah. So here what we needed to do is to change the X. Usually what we do is to change the X and the Y. We don't need to change the X. I need to change the X. So the X, see here, we could have the X at 1, 2, 3, 4, and the orange, the X for the orange could be 1.5 and 2.5, and then this will be moved aside, right? Moved a little bit, and then they will not overlap each other. So here, what I need to do is to change the X. X could be changed to numeric. We have four people here, so I just need to create an X 0 to 4, and does that give us a 4 number? Yes, correct. So this will be the X, and then this X, the X for the second one, I just need to move 0.5 next to this. So we just add, based on this first group, we add 0.5, and this one will be 0.5, and then this will move to the right. Let's see if it works. Oh, it did work. A little bit ugly. So what we want to change is to narrow it a little bit, then they want to overlap with each other, right? So what I can do is to, as I mentioned, we have to use more arguments here. The third argument is the width for the bars. Here I can customize the width. Let's see, I moved 0.5, so probably the width should be 0.5. Let's see if 0.5 works. And the same for the second group. The width should be the same for all these groups. Let's try. Okay, this looks beautiful. Beautiful. There should be some like a gap between the first group and the second group, right? There should be some gap between the first group and the second group. So what should we do? Let's see, what should we do for this first group? I want some gap between the first group and the second group instead of connected with each other. So maybe like this 0 to 1. Instead of 0 to 1, I can change it to 0 to 1.5, then make it, this one, instead of 0.5, I give it 0.4, and then 0.4, then it gives a 0.2 gap between these two. So let's try this. Okay, can do 0.4 or just 0.3. This is a nice one. This is a nice one we got. And likewise, you just add Wednesday. You just add Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, right? For the rest of the bars. So what you need to do is to just add the Y3 Wednesday and copy these. So yeah, so here the trick is to set up the gap between these, and then the widths for the bars. And usually the widths should be equal to this. I don't think there will be further problem if we add more. So the third group is the further 0.3. Let me just move it. The third group should be 0.3 further next to this, right to this orange. So you just add another 0.3. And then it should be Y3. Yeah. Okay. So that's how we create the grouped bar plot. Okay. Be careful to set up this X numbers and then numbers for the X and then use the Y. So, and you can adjust and try different number to see which one looks nice. So this is the how we do the grouped bar plot. Next one we are going to do is a stacked bar plot. So stacked bar plots, it's a little bit different from the last one. So as you see, the x-axis, they should all be on the same spot. So you don't need to like move the x-axis here. However, for the y-axis, so the start of the blue bars, it is at 0. And the orange bars, it should start at based on the blue bars, right? So you have to be careful here, okay? If the orange bars, the Y still here, then it may not show anything if the orange numbers are smaller than the blue numbers. But what we want to do is to show the Tuesday here, and then this Wednesday, and the Thursday, and the Friday, and this whole bar, this whole piece, it shows the total sales records of that person. So that's why we use a root bar, the stack bar in a search change. And you can still see, you can still compare the different days, the sales record between the different days. As you say, blue ones are obviously longer than the orange ones and the rest. Am I correct? Let's go back to see the numbers. Okay. It is correct. So this plot is correct. And we can see this person has the most total sales. Okay, so how do we do this stacked bar plot? As I said, this x-axis doesn't need to change, and the y-axis, the y should be also be the orange should be the numbers from the group. What we are going to change is the bottom. You see, what we are going to change is the bottom. So for the blue ones, the bottom starts at 0. And for the orange ones, the bottom should be started based on built on the blue one. For example, if this is 10, then this bottom should be 10. Yeah, right. So that's a little bit tricky. Let's do it. Okay, let's do the code. See, the X. Let's get back. Put back to 0. So that's the names for these people. And then that's the Y1, Y2. So as I said, this we don't need to change it. We don't need to change it. And for the second group, the X, we don't need to change it because they are all on the same position. The X should be on the same position. The Y, we don't need to change it either. And then let's try this to see what will happen. Okay, we will just plot this. Except we tried it actually, right? And this shows. So this overlaps, and this looks like, if we look at this one, it look like this blue one. It's very short, and then this orange one is higher than the blue one. Right? So this is not what we want. We want the orange one to build on the blue one, right? To be above the blue one. What we had to do is to change the bottom. The bottom should be. So here, because we want to set up the third one, the fourth one. So the white, you need to give it the white, okay? Or else you have to specify the argument. White, I'll just still do 0.3. And then next, I need to set up the bottom. The bottom for the blue one, the Monday group, it starts from 0. And for the orange group, the bottom should be based on the Monday data. That should be raised up, and it should start from this number here, right? So this number, where we get this number? Actually, this is the Monday sales record. So the bottom for this one should be Y. Let's see what it looks like. Okay. As you see, so the bottom for this one, the bottom for this one is started from this first group, and this one also get from the first group. It's not a fixed number. It's not a fixed number, 1 or 5. However, it's an array from this record. Do we have any question? Are we confused here? Any confused? Any question? Confusion here? They all good? Okay, then we'll go more on. Right, and the next, then if we are all good, you tell me what should be the code for this Wednesday record to be added to this stacked bar plot. What should be coded? X. What is the X?
Please, 4 people selling.
There's
only 4 people selling.
4 people, yes. Still the 4 people, yes. Y. Y3, yes. How about Y is the same? How about the bottom?
Y plus point.
This is the Y. This is the Y1. So the bottom for the Wednesday should be Y2.
Yes.
Y2 is the Tuesday.
Because that
Is
Y2 the middle.
Yeah, Y2 is the Tuesday record.
So we want Wednesday.
So if you add Y2, then you see It's between that. The Y2 is not correct. So the bottom for this Wednesday group, the next group should be this Y1, this Y2, Y3. Y3 is the Wednesday one.
Should it be like Y1 plus Y2 or something like that?
That's correct. Correct direction. So this Y1, and the Y3 should start from where? On top of it. That's if you use math, what's that? That's Y plus Y. Did I use Y1 or yeah? It should be this Y, this Y2. So the Y3, the bottom of the Y3 is Y plus Y2. Yeah, John's direction is correct. I hit the number. We all good here? It's not Y3. If it's Y3, okay. If then it could be if the Y3 is very small, then it goes to here, the green one, or it goes in the middle. That's not correct. We are building up above this, so it should be Y plus Y2. You see, now this group is on top of the first two groups. And similarly for the Thursday, what should be the, I guess this one is easy for you. So the bottom for the Thursday group should be
Y3.
Y plus Y3.
Y2 plus Y3 plus
Well,
Y2 plus Y3.
Y2 plus Y3. No.
Would it be Y2 and Y3?
Yes, it should be Y1 to Y3. All these three groups numbers. Yeah.
So basically, it's like a building block.
Building blocks.
So we can build it on top of each other.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So it's a building block. Yes.
Okay.
You add those. Yeah. These are the group one. Then you add the bottom. So that's how we use this this argument bottom to build a stacked plots. Next thing I want to mention is the legend.
All right.
Yes.
All right. So what if like you wanted to like only add to like a block to one person? Can you do that? Like only add to one specific person?
So you want to add a specific person, right?
Right.
Then you have to change you could, so what you want to change is to change this as x-axis, and then this is y. The y1 is Anna, and then y2 is Jason, right? Then you just change this y number, x number to fetch a different number. Right now I fetch by the columns, and then what you do is to fetch by the rows. Right? Yes, I want to mention the legend. So for example, here we have a stacked plots now, and I want to know what this blue represent and what this orange represent. It doesn't tell from this plot. So what we can do is to add this legend. And in this legend, what you need to tell is what these represent. It takes an array or a list actually. And here you could go fetch the data, or if I manually input it, then it's a Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. Okay, and there's another argument for this function called location. Location could be equal to upper. That's what I usually use. I believe it's called upper right. Oh, wait, where? Okay, they call it upper right. Okay, in this way, we added the legend, so it tells what color represent which day. So here you give it a list. Oh, yeah. If I don't type in manually and get it from this table, what should I do? If I don't want to type in manually, but I want to get it from this table, what should I do? Remember how we get to the top of the column name? What function? Actually, columns. Here, this one is the first one. 0, 1. 1 to Thursday. So other 1, 2, 3, 4. That's how you use that. Correct. Yeah, that's how you use this columns to get the column titles instead of manually typing. But you can do manually, and that's it. Just remember, this takes a list, and this means the location. We'll stop at the pie chart. Okay, we covered. Pie chart. So, we use the same group of data. We still use the same data. Pie chart. What pie chart is different from the group bar chart or bar chart is it shows the percentage of the people there, right? The percentage. So you could use bar chart or pie chart when you want to explain the percentage they contribute to the whole group. Then you use a pie chart. So this is let's see how this works. So this is how this pie chart works. So here, basically, you need the X. That means the data. Okay, and the explode. Explode means what it means is the pies are exploded a little bit away from the center. So if it doesn't explode, then there's no space to the center, and that means it explode. And the next one, labels. Okay, labels are like Anna, Jason. These are the labels, right? The next one, colors. I usually don't I usually don't change that. Auto percentage, I usually choose true, and then you can set up the like the digits, how many decimals you want to show. Okay. So that's how we use a pie chart. Just copy it over. So X, for example, I want to do the total again, then this X is the total again, then the data, this X should be what? I mean, what it should be the X here. I think we already did it. The X should be the X is the data, okay, the data for the pie. So I want to show the total and the percentage of the total for each person. 6, yes, or -1. Yeah. And the explode. So here it takes a list again. You need to tell it like how far you want it to be away from the center, and believe usually the number is 0.05. It will be pretty. So there are 4 pies, 1, 2, 3, 4 pies, and then you need to input 4 numbers for each. And the labels. The labels are like Anna, Jason, John. So what we need to get is this one, right? The first column. Colors, I don't change. The auto percentage, I could set up the percentage. I think that's all. Okay. This looks a nice pie chart here. And again, you can add the legend. Actually, it doesn't need a legend. The names are right here. Occasionally, for example, occasionally we want to make it a little bit fancy, like we want to highlight this pie, so it's a little bit more away from the center. What you can do is to change the exploder. So instead of 0 point, this one is a little bit further. Then we change this to one number. Whatever number that is bigger than 0.05. So this is for John, right? John is the 1, 2, 3. That's the third pie here. Third pie. We want to change it to 1, for example. Okay, so this John is a little bit further away. That helps us to highlight it. Maybe even better. See, it's a little bit more fancy, more professional, because you wanted to explain the most information. Okay, we'll stop. We can go to the line chart. It's still 20 minutes. Okay, we'll stop at the line charts. I cover one more. Okay, line chart. It's usually used to show the trend of the data. If like sometimes there are too many groups, too many, like Monday to Tuesday, of course, there are only 5 numbers, but if it's 12 months, then usually you use a line chart instead, or the years, then you use a line chart. Let me use this data instead of this random one. Okay, I created a sample data here. you see, this is just two teams and their records across the years. So this is the perfect data to use the line chart. Reading. So my habit is whenever you read in some data or you change some data, always print it out to verify. If the total long, very long table, you print out the head, like the first 5 rows. Okay, then the reading and so if you use this function plot, that means you are doing a line chart. And let's see what are the arguments for this function. So it's actually also XY and the FMT. I think this is the line styles. So for the line chart, we usually also give it the XY. X here, what should be the X? If you imagine the line chart and with 2 lines, and the X should be the
years.
Yes, the years. Correct. Okay, so the X should be the years. Zero. And then the Y, let's do this Y1. Y1 is this team 1, okay? Team 1. And then we just give it to the XY. What's going on? Okay. What's going on here? So this is a common problem when you do the do the chart, which means see what it tells me is the XY must have the same dimension. So this X, it is from. Oh, okay. Yes. So I see. Yes. Okay, this looks the correct data. We can make it a little bit more pretty. We can change this to another like a line style. What you usually do is to use code like this. Okay, so usually this one means the color of the line, and this one means the line style. Like this symbol means dotted lines, and this means solid lines. And there are more styles there. If you refer to this library, this list, it will tell you more styles. So let's do here. Change it to yellow line. and then next we can add the line for the second group. That's very easy, right? Better. I give it to Y2. So this time you usually want to change the line type or the color, like red. So yeah, that shows that the trend for the two teams. And oftentimes what we like to do is to add these 12 numbers, like add this, what you call these, like add a special symbol to this, so it can tell where are the 12 numbers. So this one, it'll look like hey, it's some smooth line, don't show the 12 numbers. So kind of forgot this a little bit, but it should be able to add the what we call that. Add the points, yes. Or you just I found the points for line chart. Markers, yes. All these markers. So you can do it to add the markers. How do we add markers? Sure. Mark every. Let's go a little bit. Okay. So the anyway, you can use this marker to add the markers. So here you see this simply just add a marker. What symbol you want for the marker? For example, I just add this one. I believe it should add a marker to it. And you see, yeah, so here, this way, we added markers to it and look a little bit better. Okay. So we'll stop here and we'll leave the remaining time to ask a question about the last assignment. Okay. And if you finish it and upload it, I'll return feedback later today, or you can ask me to review it now.